Thanks, Rachel. Doan Monte Cristo here for our second match. And hey, it's Korea versus Australia. You've got Korea who, yeah, this is an exhibition match, but these guys are not here to have fun. They are here to win. They have put together an incredible team, and Australia's got their work cut out for them, man. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah, and Rachel asked a question on the desk to ZP asked the question, does he feel the connection to Australia? Well, I could say that we both live in Korea, and I feel the connection to South Korea.
I do too. I actually just married a lovely lady from South Korea, so yeah, I feel a little bit of a connection there. Hashtag no bias. But let's get things started, guys. We're going to Temple of Anubis for our first match here in our best of 3 between Australia and South Korea. And what can I say? I mean, it's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting, and a lot of these Australian players, 4 of them play on Tempo Storm, so
yeah,
they do play on a professional team. Same thing with all of the players from South Korea coming in, with of course Tairong serving that coaching position on Africa Blue. But it would be hard at this point in time taking the South Korea player pool and imagining more of a dream team than what they're fielding.
Yeah, I mean, if you've watched any Apex League lately, you've seen these guys in action, aside from Tairong, who's been coaching Africa Blue. They are so good. And kind of as a side note, too, it's actually Zunba's birthday today. So happy 19th birthday, you young child, you.
And also, he is currently the highest rated player in the ladder out of all players here at the Overwatch World Cup at number 8 right now.
Yeah.
Skill rating's been hitting the solo queue hard, even while he's been here in America. And Arhan will be going on the Genji, so typically Arhan going to play more of the projectile DPS. Eska known for his McCree, but also he is on his team also the Mei player. So.
Man, Arhan and Eska together on the same team. This is just...
It's the dream.
If you know the Korean scene, you know this is pretty awesome stuff. Looks like HeyKatie gonna try to catch a glimpse of things early on, actually sticking with the Widowmaker. We see this once in a while on offense at Temple of Anubis. See if you can pick up anyone early on.
Actually going to get
they know he's there
by an icicle immediately, and it's kind of an awkward composition because they've got. Well, we'll see how much damage they can get done with the poke. See if they can pick off Jaehong.
Now Jaehong on that end a little bit. Well, but he gets eliminated by Miro, who's immediately all over that Widowmaker. Probably going to see a swap there. Arhan getting onto the point right away. Genji v Genji. We'll see if he can take him out in the building there. Yep, there goes Yuki, and already South Korea doing pretty well at keeping Australia off the point.
Yeah, good reaction immediately by South Korea, identifying the Widowmaker threat. When we talk about Miro, we talk about him maybe being the best Winston player in the world from the teams we've spoken to or over there, such as Envy and Rogue. When you play against him, it's very frustrating because he's so good at timing his engages and getting out that it's very, very hard to actually kill him.
Oh, that's the thing. He just knows his limits so well. As we see him go in after Kura there, Miro just, like you said, knows when to go out, and he doesn't really need to worry about that right now. Pops a Primal Rage just to finish off Yuki. Knows the damage ranges as well on that character so well. And Australia just having no chance here, getting on the point. Miro going deep here in this defense, but yep, time to go back. Do a little bit of damage to Lucio on the way out, maybe. Or just kill him. You could just kill him. Eska with the right click, that works too.
Yeah, finishing it off. And Miro doing a great job of just hunting down Yuki on the Genji. Arhan about to have that Dragon Blade. Yuki with his already up. So we'll see if they can make the Nano Blade combo work. But South Korea is going to have the same tools to work with in just a few seconds.
If you're a Genji, though, I mean, Winston is kind of your kryptonite in a lot of cases. And when that Winston is being played by Miro, you're going to have a little bit of trouble here. Eska, though, has a Blizzard available, going to drop it in the choke right off the bat. Going after HeyKatie, who switched over to the Tracer a little while ago, and immediately South Korea just pushing Australia back. Only Turmo living to tell the tale for the moment. Nope, he's dead too.
Well, it was over.
Nobody lives to tell the. Only we live to tell the tale, Monte Cristo.
That's right. There's no going back to their leader to recount the horrors.
I don't think so. We're just the neutral observers here. We'll write the history books. Yuki over on the Pharah now. It's an interesting switch over. May want to change it. Okay, yeah, looks like a change of mind. And not a lot of time left for Australia. Only about 1:30 to make something happen here. They've got the sound barrier. Can they maybe use that to just bum rush the point? HeyKatie on the Roadhog now as well.
Yeah, Australia going for a beefy composition here.
Yeah, just trying to live.
Just power their way through and live on the point.
But they're being funneled right where South Korea wants them, though. I think Zunba was looking for a Graviton Surge, finds it now. And where's the follow-up? Jaehong firing into that crowd as well, too. Tairong. And you know what? Who even needs DPS players? Your tanks and supports can get all the kills. Yeah, that's fine.
Wow,
I like that.
Right there, they set themselves up for an extremely good graviton surge. Australia caught while they were trying to rotate up into the high ground, all clumped up. So multi-man surge makes it easy. Eska going to have that blizzard.
I mean, you gotta
next push here, which is going to be one of the last of the game.
You kind of wonder what they were wanting to do. It looked like they maybe just wanted to go down the middle, but they did kind of get funneled this way. They're taking the high ground now, but they get cut off by the ice wall. Turmo still has that graviton surge. Meanwhile, Blizzard does go down from Eska. South Korea trying to find a way to take out the rest of the team, and it looks like they find it. Yeah, everybody just grouped up. Zunba with that high charge, doing tons of damage on the Zarya. Not much to say. I mean, South Korea just manhandling Australia right now.
Well, Doa, at this point in the game, as we head down into our last 15 seconds, Australia has gotten 1 elimination on this map so far compared to 83.
Congratulations to
South Korea.
Turbo for that 1 elimination. Jaehong, there's the kill on Nikura. Boosting up Miro, that's the person I would want to give the nano boost to. As he goes in, gets a couple, Aron with the cleanup, there's the Primal Rage. Blizzard on the point as Australia tries to take it, but we're into overtime already. And as the kills come in, another Graviton surge for Zumba at the end. A couple more kills for Australia right at the end of that map, but in the end, it will be 6-100 right now. South Korea versus Australia. Doesn't get much more one-sided than that, does it?
I mean, Australia was somewhat close to taking point A on that last push. They did pick up 5 out of their 6 eliminations, but that is a shocking statistic, frankly. Also, 21.6k damage done from Korea compared to 12,000 done from the side of Australia.
I mean, look at Zumba there. Is at 19-0 so far on that Zarya. Eska's 20-0 on the Mei. Miro 21-0 on the Winston. I don't know. I don't know what you can do if you're Australia. I mean,
it's rough, Doa. It is rough.
We knew this one was going to be a little bit on the perhaps less than even side, but
well, it's rough for Australia too because this is just such a horrendous group.
It is the hardest team
difficult.
maybe to come up against here at this tournament. Well, certainly looking like it so far.
Yeah, then you also have to deal with Finland and Chinese Taipei in this group too, so
yeah, it's a tough group.
It's about as tough of a group as you could ask for.
Yeah, Finland versus Korea later, man. That's going to be a great match. But we'll see if Australia can get anything going on the defense here. And the only hope they have of continuing this map would be to full hold Korea, which at this point looks like it might be pretty difficult. There we go. So South Korea on the offense now. Eska swapping over to that Tracer, which is a pretty common choice for him. We see him on the Tracer, we see him on the McCree a lot of the times too. Aron sticking with the Genji, no shock there.
So Australia, they're gonna go more for the tank composition, which is how they ended that map more or less, although we did see the switch over onto the Tracer for Australia for Hey Katie. Gonna go back onto the Roadhog now.
I like the Roadhog. I mean, if you can just get those single picks, if you can just take somebody out of the fight before it even begins, it gives you a chance.
It's also very difficult if Eska stays on the Tracer to really do anything to Australia. You're not gonna burst down one of those targets with the Tracer. You're going to be annoying, but the amount of healing that you've got on the Australian composition should mean that you are able to survive and try and land one of those hooks.
Yeah, refs can block a lot of those left clicks from Genji coming in, so we'll be charging that as fast. Jaehong already looking for some kills on the Ana, has to avoid the Winston as he fights on the defensive, but they're just going to walk right in. Aron with a kill already. Miro getting aggressive on the Winston too, and Jaehong taking the high ground on the side, more or less untouched. Miro jumping onto the point at half health, but he's getting support, and with Zumba and Aron getting those kills already, things are looking pretty good for South Korea. Getting a bit of time on the point already. Miro has that Primal Rage, and he's going to jump right to spawn to try to make sure nobody gets back. What are you going to do when Miro's in your face already? Well, the answer is going to be not much. And South Korea going to take Temple of Anubis right here. 7:05 left on the clock. That was
55 seconds on the take, Doa.
Australia got 1 kill in that round, so the final total there is 119-7. And I think we've kind of set the pace for this best of 3, haven't we?
I think we have, Doa. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a bit rough going here forward. Hopefully we'll have a bit of a closer match here in map number 2.
Yeah, so while we wait for the next map to get loaded up, let's learn a little bit more about South Korea.
South Korea coming into the Overwatch World Cup is not a team to take lightly, given the team chemistry and the versatility of the team.
오버워치를 하면서 아마 사상 최고일 것 같아요.
또 저희끼리 너무 잘 맞아가지고
그래서 집에 갈 때도 네, 이런저런 얘기를 하면서 가면서 팀워크를 다지고 있습니다.
What makes South Korea exciting to watch is that in almost every role, you have a player that's a top 3 player in the world.
한 명 한 명이 자신이 무엇을 하고 또 나아가서 어떤 게임을 그려내야 하는지 굉장히 잘 알고 있어서
미로 선수의 윈스턴과 아르한 선수의 겐지가 일단 되게 잘 맞고요. 그리고 뒤에서 자리아를 하는 줌바 선수가 서포팅을 또 잘해줘요.
굉장히 똑똑해서 팀의 오더를 잘 맡아줄 수 있고요. 어떤 상황이든 거의 대처가 가능할 만큼 팀이 굉장히 잘합니다. 일단 한국 내 팀 코치를 넘어서 국가적인 유신을 짊어진 그런 느낌이에요. 일단 한국을 넘어서 아시아권에서도 세계를 넘보는 수준의 선수들이 다 포진을 해 있기 때문에 거의 팀원들도 역시 우승을 노리는 그런 야심찬 포부가 있어요.
All right, well, there you have it. South Korea, and you really can't understate what Tyrong's doing for this team, man. He's a shot caller. He's such a good coach for some of the other teams in Korea and China, actually, and he's making a big difference already for the Overwatch World Cup team. So we move on to Eichenwald, our hybrid capture/escort map, and yep, going to be looking for just any signs of life from the Australia team. But again, you can't be too hard on these guys. I mean, they're players fighting for recognition in their region. They've got some content producers on the team as well, and they are up against an extremely tough opponent in South Korea.
Yeah, and we know how the South Korean team selected too. Miro was voted in. Along with Arhan, Zunba, Zunba and Eska,
right?
Or Ryu Jae-hong, Zunba and Eska, excuse me. And he then said, okay, what am I missing? I need a projectile DPS player. Arhan is maybe the best projectile DPS player in Korea, and I need a leader on this team who can call the shots. I'm going to grab a coach who can be the guy to sort of rally around. He's used to putting teams together, dealing with professional players.
Right.
And it just seems like a really smart combination of players that have been assembled.
Yeah. Very true. And one thing that people may not know a lot about the South Korean fans, too, in esports is that over multiple esport titles, over the history of different all-star matches and things like that, the fans always fan vote to win. Like, the fans are very, very dedicated to finding exactly who the best players are going to be and then sending them to these international competitions. If you're familiar at all with the history of esports all-stars events over various games in South Korea, we see this kind of thing all the time. These guys don't play for fun, they play to win. Fans included.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Korea going to go for a pretty long-range poke composition. Eska on the McCree, one of, if not his best here, and Arhan going to be rocking the Hanzo, so they're going to be looking to take out Rev's shield as fast as possible right here and get those long-range pickoffs, taking the bridge.
Yeah, a Miro on the Reinhardt as well, which is something we don't see as often, but he can play it if the situation demands.
Yeah, typically on his team he plays Winston Zarya, but in times of need, Noah.
Yep, I mean, he's still capable of playing it. Gets pinned, though. And he will actually, no, he'll get the pin. And so so far so good as RN now on that Hanzo. And South Korea already taking a good position over the point here.
AKD picking up a kill, though. They haven't been able to deal with Turbo. Is just going to use the tracking on the Zarya. Take out, but sleep darts have been so clutch from Jae-hong coming in here straight into a flashbang on the fan the head hammer wake up. So that'll be a quick first cap here, and they will start pushing the battering ram over.
What we haven't seen a lot of yet is Arn's actually switched over to that Bastion now as the point gets rolling. So we'll see if the good old protect the Bastion works out, but they don't have the Reinhardt. So this is actually going to be kind of interesting. I'm curious how they're going to be using this.
And Farah is going to be a disaster against McCree Bastion. This is not a pick that is going to be working out very well too easily just to take out of the sky immediately.
Oh, I like this positioning behind the payload. And this is a good idea on this point too, because you can really cover, as you can see, a lot of the defensive points that the defense tries to take to stop you. Eska comes in with the Deadeye, gets one on the Lucio on the other side, and they're going to start pushing all the way up to the bridge as Turmo runs for cover here.
Yeah, and they're going to have to concede. The Australians will have to concede the high ground. And they're going to push them all the way back to the double doorway here at the choke, and they're just going to try and not let them through at all. This is a very bold move, but it gives a lot of space to push the payload for free as Arhan is going to
Thanks.
spray it with thanks and ride it all the way. D.Va going to come out to try and counteract the damage from the Bastion.
Yeah, well, Bastion gets slept. Earthshatter comes in. This is Australia's chance to fight back. Your Nano Boost on the Reinhardt as well. As Korea tries to fight Arhan in a good position. He's got the sound barrier. Somebody has to do something about this Bastion here. Nano Boost comes in. He's got configuration tank, though. And South Korea will continue rolling to victory here. A celebratory rocket jump for Arhan, and they'll roll right up to the gate, it looks like.
Wow. So an attempt there trying to counteract, but they were controlling the choke point so well there wasn't really any opportunity. But for the most part, it is actually Tyrong's sound barrier that really saved them on the Reinhardt engage. It allowed Arhan just to not die off the charge and sit and open fire onto the members of Australia.
Well, we saw refs get a pretty good Earthshatter to start things off with, but then it just seems like the follow-up was a bit disjointed, and South Korea had time to kind of regroup as a Nano Boost goes on to Arhan now as he's just sitting on top of the payload, wreaking havoc. Eska grabbing a couple kills as well, and it just doesn't look like there's anything Australia can do to stop these guys.
So you got to hit the sleep darts onto the Bastion in that situation. You have to do it if he's an immobile target, and if he's going to be the one that gets a Nano Boost, you can't just sit there and use your cooldowns differently. So it's just been an easy ride here.
Oh, tank time. All right. Well, Arhan gets onto the high ground. He rocket jumps up there right away for a bit more of a defensive position. Gets one as South Korea tries to regroup. Back on the point again. Hashtag thanks. And that is going to be it as South Korea is going to absolutely rock Eichenwald here. A cool 4:24 left on the clock as they finish off their offensive round, and smiles all around. It's pretty dominating, isn't it?
I don't know the last time I saw an Eichenwald time of 4:24. That is a huge time bank when that third point is so hard to push, because if you get stopped and the portcullis goes down, it becomes very hard for the attacking team to push through these two small doorways. But we finished that match 74 eliminations to 8 for South Korea.
It's, I mean, yeah, for those of you keeping total at home, it's yet another hugely lopsided kill count for each side. And I mean, you just got to feel bad for the Australia guys. It's such a ridiculously hard opponent to play against first in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. In such a ridiculously hard group, too.
Yeah, and again, I mean, we've said this many times, but it's an exhibition match, but you're playing against Korea, which will always try hard. So here you are, guys. Sorry. That's how it is.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to switch up the sides right now and see if Australia will be able to push through on Eichenwald and how far they can move this payload along.
Yep.
I wonder if we're going to see any more interesting strategies, though, the payload Bastion.
We might. I know these guys, and I know they do like to showboat a little bit. And speaking of showboating, we have Tyrong on the Symmetra right now. Arhan's on the Torbjorn. Okay, Zumba on the Junkrat. So, yeah, this is going to get a little bit interesting here. I've never seen Arhan play Torbjorn before.
I have not either.
At least you know Matt's happy, right?
So very, very bold way to start this map here.
I would say so. It's a good positioning for that turret, though. We'll see if it makes a difference. Tyrong, of course, will be very distracting on that Symmetra. I'm so happy to see Symmetra. I'm a Zenyatta main, but probably my second main would be Symmetra. Someday Symmetra will rise again, Monte Cristo. Well, maybe today is the day.
That's what Blizzard tells us, at least. And she has the turrets placed up right underneath the archway. Miro played a forward position.
That's what you do.
Australia going to be looking for flanks here with the Tracer and the Genji.
Well, what South Korea's put together here is just ridiculously disgusting zone control defense. I mean, you're going to have so much damage flying through every single area you're trying to get into. It's going to be brutal.
I think Katie looks like they have been caught up by a Junkrat trap there to start things off, and then quickly finished off. Of course, they would not be expecting traditionally a Junkrat. They are going to swap over to the D.Va.
All right, onto the high ground goes Zumba as he continues firing away with that Junkrat. Grabs the kill onto Yuki. That Genji going down very, very quickly.
But Tyrong dying is huge.
It is, but Refs does, Refs gets on the point, dies right away. In a lot of cases, it is big if you lose that Symmetra early on, but because the team wipe came in from South Korea, Tyrong's going to have time to get back, and he's going to have the teleporter up when he gets back too.
Yeah. Well, by the time he slowly works his way over to the point,
there we go.
Drop it up here in the high ground and throw a quick turret down to protect it. Yep. Jump straight back onto the point. So Not really much holding back right now. Diva going to be eating up a lot of those Junkrat bombs as
The Tyrong was the only kill actually that Australia picked up in that last push. It was a good one, but they need a little bit more than that. Okay, they need a lot more than that. And here we go again. Zunba with the ultimate, bringing in the Riptire. Doesn't get anybody with it,
nano
though.
boost at the Symmetra, Daw.
All right, I like it. Get in there. That beam does a ridiculous amount of damage if you keep it on people. But no, it looks like the nano boost in Symmetra doesn't quite do the job for South Korea. But it does enough.
That's not a sentence I thought I'd be hearing today.
No, I didn't expect that I would say nano boosted Symmetra, but I'm glad I did.
Isn't quite doing the job.
That's I did. Yeah, I thought I would be saying nano boosted Symmetra totally destroys the other team. Yeah, that's what you would think it would be, obviously. Zunba's still defending. They tried to pop the sound barrier to get a little bit of the offense going for Australia, but you know, you just can't make it past the iron wall of Eichenwald for South Korea here.
Yep, try to play a little bit of defense right there, daring somebody to come up while the trap was available.
Zunba has died. He is a shame to South Korea now.
Wow. Well, another turret is going to go up here for Arhan. Moving it just a little bit, a minute and a half left for Australia on this push.
You know, that's the hilarious thing is we haven't even talked about Arhan on Torbjorn since the match began. Too. Yeah. Oh, guys, while all this is going on, Arhan is also playing Torbjorn. That's happening. All right, they're going to try for it again, going for a bit more of a dive comp. Hey, Katie on the Tracer now. Eska taken out, so this may be an opportunity. Yeah, as Miro gets pretty low on that Reinhardt. This is a chance they've been waiting for. Needs to get that pulse bomb up, though. Couple more percent to go. Finds Jaehong, gets sleep darted. Yeah, that's kind of what happens when Jaehong finds you. Meanwhile, Miro stabilizing, low health, but it looks like they're going to be able to just barely keep him alive.
I mean, the teleporter's still up, so yeah, Australia did a good job of getting the flank right there and getting the initial kills, particularly Hey Katie finding Eska's McCree, but they could just get back so quickly and gonna spam some armor packs down.
Yep.
And it's 40 seconds remaining, 3 ults up for Korea and a couple more key picks.
All right, so another chance to nano boost that Symmetra. Let's do it. Here comes a Riptire. Zunba trying to find a few members of Australia. And no, he doesn't quite do it. Oh, well.
Bot buys them time, pushes them back into the base, and they're just spawn camping at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have a reason not to. Australia can't really push ahead. Looks like Dragon Blade popped up. Yeah, nano boost the Symmetra. Here we go again. We'll see what he can get. Going after the Genji, a good target. Yuki does count Jaehong, though. Tyrong, again, not getting any kills. Shockingly, the nano boosted Symmetra doesn't do as much work as they were hoping, but refs does get taken down before he can destroy Eska. And with those kills, that will be it. South Korea with a crushing victory over Australia. Kind of what we were expecting, but that was super one-sided, man. 132-22 in eliminations in the end.
Well, I don't know what you say about that double nano boosted Symmetra. That's how the game ends.
Well, I mean, South Korea already showing us some entertaining stuff. I mean, they've put together a great team and getting to showboat a little bit. And as we take a look at Group C, South Korea obviously with a win there. And so I think it's time to go back to the desk to break down that match a little bit more. Let's hear some real analysis on that match.
Watch South Korea play there, and certainly we have a lot to analyze. We saw Sebastian, some Torbjorns. Why don't you kick us off, Reinforce?
I mean, I just for one, you know, welcome our new Korean overlords to Overwatch.
That was pretty fast. That was almost a year.
People thought Sweden could win. People thought Finland had a chance, but you know this.
They're pretty good. It was intimidating. There's no doubt about that. And I think the really cool thing about this South Korean team is that more so than anything else, when teams tend to lose fights in Overwatch, they lose it because someone's out of position and they get picked off. South Korea was very careful, especially on Anubis, not to let anyone get picked off early. They took engagements on their own terms, usually off Miro, just buying space, and as a result, Australia found it very difficult to get things going.
Yeah, Australia was a bit timid, right? I mean, you know, they know who they're going up against. They know it's going to be tough. And you know, at the beginning, you saw a little bit slow play. They were not that aggressive. You started towards the end of Anubis, like it started to come alive. Eichenwald, completely different story, but just a rough game for the Australians.
Yeah, on Anubis especially, it felt like Australia, they had good plans, you know?
Yeah.
They had a composition they could rely on, and then they took a direction, they speeded in, you know? There was a set plan going into it. But it just felt like they focused too much on getting into position. So when they got into position, then they were already down a man or two because South Korea took the fights on their terms and they managed to shut down Australia before anything really happened.
Well, we got some replays queued up, so why don't we play them and then we can continue this discussion.
Yeah, and that was sort of a mix of both worlds there, where not only is South Korea very disciplined, but Australia, I think it intimidated them into not getting the engages they wanted. A lot of it has to do with this man right here, Miro, with just excellent Winston play, zoning people out, creating space, and it was great.
I mean, look at this replay. Like, he knows his limit so well, you know? He's just going everywhere, killing people, he's getting healed, and he's not dying.
I was just going to say, it's like almost like he's not taking any damage whatsoever. Like, he's just able to stay alive so long as Winston. And I feel like that's why, when we watch him play, it's just so exciting. Because a lot of players, they'll play Winston, and they're the first one to engage, whatnot. And they can never, get out. they're just there to engage, and then everybody comes up with them. But Miro just plays such a very good Winston, able to just get in, distract, keep his life, get out, and then just keep diving back in.
All right, well, let's. We got a couple more replays for you, so we're going to cue those up. And ZP, what did you want to say?
Well, I just covered before with Miro zoning things out, and also just the fact that going to Reinforce's point where Australia, I think it really messed with them. They weren't able to get things going, and you take a look at South Korea overall, they use their support ultimates really well. Anytime they use a Dragon Blade, anytime they use a Nano Boost, they immediately converted, and that's a big part of doing well in Overwatch as well. When you use resources, you want to get results, and Korea almost always got results when they burn those resources.
And you can see just how aggressive they were. It's like they knew they could take the fight to Australia and win it that way. And I think just even making that pace of play even faster in this, I mean, we're all just looking at each other like, oh. I think that's actually a great way to just describe that clip. Just like,
analyze that. No.
It was rough.
Yeah, just Arhan here had this is oh well, we didn't get a chance to see that one moment. He was so sneaky with that Bastion. You feel like a Bastion stands out like a sore thumb, but he was able to get behind enemy lines with him so often.
And then that Torbjorn Symmetra Junkrat combo there.
I mean, it's actually really smart. It feels kind of like bad-mannered to just throw these heroes out, like the Torbjorn, Symmetra, and a Junkrat. But actually, they synergize so well. I mean, there's so much spam, and an unexperienced team like Australia, they're just in the game. They're trying to adapt on the fly, and they're just stuck there thinking, "What do we do? What do we do?" And it's just so smart.
Well, the other thing too is that even though Symmetra and Torbjorn have been out of the meta for quite a bit, there was a point in Overwatch where you'd see them used very often on first points, especially first points are hard to attack. You used to see it in Hollywood all the time from, say, Cloud9 earlier in the game's life. So even though it's been out of vogue recently, it's not like it's a terrible idea.
Yeah, and to kind of back up Reinforce's point, it's like with a team like Australia who may not have like that great coordination, right, where they let stay so close together and push through that choke. It's like when you have all that spam, it makes it even that much harder.